Hey everybody, Eric Spice here for The Gamer, joined today by George Foster.
Hello.
And as you can see, we're looking at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I played and reviewed. Okay, cards on the table, George. I did not have very long to play this game. I kind of
No.
I had to review this one under like really not ideal circumstances.
Mm.
Maybe this is sort of like inside game journalism baseball that people don't care about, but I think it's relevant because
It
I don't.
influences, yeah, like it's important.
Yes, it colored my experience. The fact that I had to blast through this game in a few days because the codes came in real late, real late. So, man, where to start? Okay, I'm gonna start at the beginning. I'm gonna start at the very beginning. The first 10 minutes of this game is the opening of Raiders. You are just playing the first scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's pretty cool. And
Yep.
it sets a really cool pace for the game, right? Because like that is the quintessential adventure sequence with the traps and stealing the idol and then the boulder, all that stuff. It rules in the movie, and it feel like that. Obviously, that movie predates adventure video games, but it's a very video game sequence.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and it works just as well in the game. And it's a great opening. And then you bounce between some linear sections. You start at the college, inciting incident. You fly off to the Vatican. You do this pretty cool like stealth sequence that's a little bit like Dishonored. In the way that the map is sort of built. There's like a lot of different paths you can take, and you can sneak this way or that way, and a well-built stealth sequence. And then you get into the first open world.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't remember them saying there were open worlds.
Yes. Open world. Open. What's
Open
the cutesy
zone?
way? Yeah. It's
zone.
like, but these like separate maps that are like big and open, and you can explore them however you want. And this is where it becomes a different game. And in fact, I think I want to make the case that Great Circle is really two games mashed together.
Go on.
Because you have these very linear, very Uncharted, like really the Vatican one's the only stealth one. The rest are like platforming, swinging on your rope, climbing around. There's some action. There's a lot of shooting Nazis, which is great.
Always great.
So there's these like, linear big set piece moments, very Uncharted. That's half the game.
Mm-hmm.
The other half is like Ubisoft checklist map marker collectibles.
From machine
puzzles,
games, that's so
side
weird.
quests. Yeah, it is weird. And like, so the first one's is Vatican City. You have free reign, and it's a very like interconnected, almost like Soulsborne-y kind of map where there's all these locked doors and they lead back to areas you've been before, and you're like finding keys, and there's no straight paths anywhere. You can't just like walk down the street. You have to like climb over a roof, go through a window, go downstairs, go out that door, go through a tunnel, like get it, and you're bouncing all around the map. It's like a Dishonored map.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds a lot like a Dishonored.
Yeah, it's like it's bigger. It's a lot bigger, and it's filled with collectibles. So many collectibles.
Do they belong in a museum?
And they all belong in a museum. There's notes. There's medicine vials that you trade for upgrades. There's relics. There's There's comic books. There's books that you read to get new abilities.
Yeah, I'd seen that in the trailer. That seemed cool. I liked the idea of that.
Let me circle back to that. So, and it's all just big checklists, and also, you get gold. You spend gold on maps, and then those maps reveal the collectibles. So you'll just get a map that's like, here's where all 50 medicine vials are. Here's where all 50 comic books are. And then you just look at this Ubisoft, like, a million map markers and go off and collect all that stuff. And, like, it's not great. It's it's a lot of, if you like that checklist stuff, if you like Assassin's Creed, like I'm gonna work my way through this map and check everything off the list, then yeah, sure. But like, why is Indiana Jones like finding a lost cat that's stuck on a roof? Can you answer that question? Does that seem like something Indiana Jones would do?
You throw me for a loop, or I guess a great circle, by telling me that it has this element to it. I didn't expect nor think it needed it.
There's a whole bunch of categories of side quests. There's like investigations and mysteries, and actually investigations I don't think is one of them. But they're all grouped into different types of side quests. And a lot of them are just like, go here, talk to this guy, and then go over there and see what's there. And it's always like, open a chest, okay, the end. Or like, there's a little joke. Oh, you thought you were gonna find treasure, but actually a guy left a trap. And it's all like this one act play, right? It's all these like mini moments that they're not really stories, they're not really that interesting, but there's tons of them. There's tons of this stuff everywhere. Just these micro moments. I don't. Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, is this the best way to do an Indiana Jones game? I'm not feeling it. And here's the next part, right? So like, Vatican City, it is fun to explore because you're parkouring around, you're looking for different ways to climb here and there, and you have all these side quests that I mentioned. Okay. Then you go to Giza. Sphinx, pyramids, another open world. All the exact same stuff. Find the medicine vials, find the comic books, find the artifacts. The exact same collectibles. Like, just copy paste from the one open world to the next one.
All right, let's go to the blue tent.
I could make a case for if that was either, they had one semi-open world, open zone area where there's all this stuff to find. Like, okay, that's an interesting break from the linear stuff. If they're just doing that multiple times over, why is my question. Like, that is why.
Yeah. So then the third one is Siam, and same idea, same collectibles, but this time you can't walk around. You have to take a boat around. It's like islands.
Oh.
And then that's it. That's the game. But here's the thing. Like, in between those three open worlds are like cinematic linear story missions that are so good, that do really cool stuff. There's a set piece moment that I don't want to spoil because it's so good, but it's in Shanghai. That's like an Uncharted level. It's fantastic. And I wish that the game was that. I really, it was really hard for me to get past what I wish this game was, which is not a good way to critique something. But every time I played a really cool story mission, I just felt like, why didn't they just make the game this?
I think I understand in the sense you have to critique it as what it is, but also when you're doing an Indiana Jones game that looks like it'd be first-person Uncharted, and then it's not, I can understand comparing it to that. I can understand saying you wish it was just that, because it's, as much as Uncharted's baked into Indiana Jones's DNA, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It's the same way around. Like, I would expect that from the Indiana Jones game. That was what I was expecting, with a bit more focus on stealth and puzzles. Like, it kind of just sounds like maybe that was the wrong direction to go for it.
Yeah, it just feels like it doesn't do anything really great. Like, it has decent stealth. It has a lot of stuff. It has puzzles. It has stealth. It has fisticuffs. Right? It has gunplay. And it doesn't do any of those things that well. There's not really any memorable puzzles. Like, dude, one whole chapter of this game is using mirrors to bounce light.
Those are the worst types.
Like, haven't we done enough of this? It's just like they're decent puzzles. Like that's why they've been in every game forever. But it also sort of communicates that you don't have that many good ideas,
Yeah.
right?
No, I agree.
Like, are we really? And it's not just one time. It's like this whole tomb is filled with mere light bouncing puzzles. You know? Um, yeah, and it's like, oh, pick up these statues and move them around to unlock a secret door, and
Like
it's
the most
just
basic thing you could think of with
yeah,
puzzles.
it's really basic stuff. Or oh, line up the gears so that they
Yeah.
all turn together. You
I'm
know?
assuming there's put something on a weight and then the door opens kind of
Yeah,
puzzles.
yeah, it's all, and maybe, and I guess that from one perspective, that's what it should be. That's what Indiana Jones should be. But
Yeah.
we've
I
been
can
playing between Tomb Raider and Uncharted. We've been playing Indiana Jones games for a long, long time,
mm,
and I just wish that there was more to this.
you wish that this Indiana Jones game was more like the other Indiana Jones games that weren't Indiana Jones games.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least had a more unique take. I mean, the one thing I have to ask about is, you haven't talked much about the story. I guess what how does Troy Baker do?
Oh, so Troy Baker is great. He is great. The thing is, because Harrison Ford is so iconic and this role is so iconic, every time he doesn't 100% nail it, you notice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he was like super brave to take on this role, because it's like it's almost made to be criticized, every time he does a line read and you could hear how Harrison Ford would have done it different, you notice that stuff,
Yeah.
and there's just throughout, there's like 4 hours of cutscenes in this game, right? And
Yeah,
he's
I've heard.
always talking to himself constantly.
Mm.
And yeah, just every once in a while he'll say something too loud, or like with the wrong intonation, or something that doesn't strike you as exactly Harrison Ford, and it takes you out of the moment. So, and but like, no one could have done it better.
No.
I don't think anybody could have done it better.
I do not envy him for doing it. I respect him for
Yeah.
even giving it a go. And from what I've heard, he sounds closer to Harrison Ford than I can imagine most doing. But
Yeah.
I can also feel, I haven't even heard the examples you mean, but I can feel in the back of my head that sort of like cringe if you heard something slightly off, because it's,
Right.
it's Indiana Jones. It's like, it's the one role Harrison Ford actually likes.
Yeah. The story is interesting. It does a lot to build some connective tissue between Raiders and Last Crusade. I don't think there's unlike Star Wars, I don't imagine that a lot of indie fans have been like, but how did he go from that one college to the other college? They never explain that.
Well,
Or
actually, I did wonder that, and now I'm in. I must know.
Yeah, like it's not exactly like a story that needs to tie up loose threads, but and yet this game attempts to tie up some loose threads in the canon, in the lore,
In the indie lore.
which is kind of interesting. And it is rooted in the storyline, like in the timeline of Indy's life, like the players of this game. This is not fan fiction. It doesn't come across like, and meanwhile, like it does feel like this could have been a movie.
Yeah, like
Not-
an official story is what it feels like.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Now, I remember you very, very critical of the trailer. It was just a full cutscene of
Yeah.
Indy in the snow, and it had like that guy with the villain doing the awful accent,
Voss.
and he was like
Yeah.
American Goody Two Shoes or something, and you
Oh, yeah,
hated
yeah,
that.
yeah. So that's not Voss. That's another Nazi. So I just hate trailers that are just a full cutscene. First
Yeah,
of all.
yeah, of course.
That's that character who's very cringe in that trailer is cringe in the game, and it makes a lot more sense in context once you know that character.
Yep.
It does play better.
Okay.
I think the scenes do play well. I mean, they're not directed like a Spielberg movie, but like it is believably indie for the most part. It's just like going back to the open world stuff, that's where it loses all of the indie qualities. Like sure,
Mm.
you're like whipping people and like rooting around in tombs looking for lost treasures, but it's just it loses all the pacing of an
Mm.
Indiana Jones adventure.
Which is
And
just non-stop, really, for an Indiana Jones film.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, and
well, they're you remember the action sequences, you remember the bolder stuff, and all of like oh god, Temple of Doom. Like you remember those moments, but also I think the bits in between are so special in developing Indy as a character. But he also wasn't rooting around houses and doing random side quests. He was just, you know,
yes.
developing.
Yeah, and like there is a fine line there because it's a video game, right? Like it
Yeah, of
has to
course.
do things that a movie doesn't do. And it does like nail the iconography. There's like creepy crawlies and there's like traps
Mm.
and he's quippy and there's Nazis and
The
it
whip.
yeah, and it does not fail as an Indiana Jones game. It just has a direction that I don't think is best suited for
Mm.
indie. And I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna make this case now, and then I'm gonna go back and do this. I think if you play this game just beelining the main story quest
Mm.
and ignoring the open world, if you don't get distracted by collectibles and side quests and you just go beat to beat through the story, I think it's probably like a 6-hour game and it's like super solid.
Yeah.
I actually think like rooting around in all these like side quests makes it a worse game unless you just love that checklist thing, unless like that scratches an itch. And I
And it
get
does for a
that.
lot of people.
A
Like,
lot of
yeah,
people
like,
love that. Yeah.
yeah,
If you're like an Assassin's Creed guy and you just want to like go get the 50 comic books,
yeah.
you
And I
know.
mean, for like a Christmas season game as well, like this could be the game that someone gets for
Yes.
Christmas, and they're spending Christmas Day playing it, and the days after just collecting
Yeah.
stuff. I can
Yeah,
see, I can
if you
see
want to
that.
whip Nazis and kill a bunch of time like looking for medicine vials, like there's you can sink a lot of time into this. It's just like I don't
Couldn't it have
it,
been more? I think is the more or less. I think that's where I'm landing on it from what you've
yes.
said. It could either have been something more unique, more special, or it could have had less of the stuff, the open
Yeah.
world stuff.
Yeah, and like now I'm kind of getting to the like that embargo wall
Yes, of course.
because they're like don't want me to talk about the best parts of the game. It's one of those like
Oh yeah.
hey, when you review the game, don't talk about the best parts of it. Like but there are set piece moments that absolutely rule in
Mm.
this game that I liked a lot, and it made the other parts of the game look worse by
Mm.
comparison because I was just like, man, give me more of that, you know?
It's a shame. It's a shame. This was not. This was pretty high up my most anticipated. I've been really looking forward to this, especially from Machine Games. Like the Wolfenstein games slap
Yeah,
consistently throughout their, they're pretty focused, and this sounds like the opposite. It sounds unfocused for half of the game.
it's like it's weird. It's a
It's
good
like two
game
games.
that you
It's
could
like two games, yeah,
see. Yeah. There's a good game and a bad game, and they're both in this game.
and they make
Um,
up a circle.
yeah.
Maybe that was the point, Eric. Maybe it's Indiana Jones and the good circle.
And then I guess I want to talk about the combat a little bit because it's like terrible, but also like you don't have to do it like at all. And you
Right.
probably shouldn't. You shouldn't you should probably not fight dudes. Like if you go full stealth and you use like you sneak into a room and there's a Nazi eating at the table and you crawl by him and you pick a sitar up off of his bed, off of his bunk, and then bash him over the head with it and it knocks him out. That's great. It's great. You get the full force of knocking a dude out. The sitar explodes into wooden shards everywhere.
That's it.
It rules. And then you go into the kitchen and you pick up a frying pan and you bash a dude. Bow, bow. You knock his ass down. It's great. But then a Nazi sees you do that, and now he wants to come square up,
Yeah.
right? And then you've both got your fists up. and you're just mashing the right trigger. Bah, I'm gonna hit him more than he hits me, and then he hits you, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna keep swinging my fist. It's bad. It's just not.
Simple. It
You
seems
can
more
block, you
complex.
can dodge, but it's like, no, just don't do any of that. Just mash the trigger until he dies, right? Just punch him so fast that he can't punch you back. And the more upgrades you get, the worse it gets. Like some of them are pretty cool. You'll get an upgrade that lets you whip a dude around the neck and knock him out with the whip, like
That's
K-
sick.
KO him, which rules. But most of it is just like your punches are stronger. You can, your stamina doesn't run out as fast.
I did see the one
And-
that's like we could pick the hat back up if you get knocked out. That's cool. That's pretty indie, you know.
It's a cool idea. The execution is not good because you go down on the ground and all the Nazis just walk away like you're dead. But you're crawling around on the ground looking for your hat. Where's my hat? And then you put it back on and it goes into this cutscene where he puts the hat on and he dusts himself off. And all the Nazis that just killed you are just standing there like Fallout.
What?
Like they're not T-posing, but they might as well be. Like,
yeah, that's weird because they highlighted that in the trailer as like a really cool thing, and it's
a cool idea. It's
cool
cute.
idea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
weird. I think cool idea, weird execution
Right.
might be the tagline.
There's not really progression. Like I'm talking about these, like, your punches hit harder or your stamina bar. You get those like stat increases, right? Other than that, like each open world has its own disguises that you'll find so that, you can get around areas without having to sneak. In Giza, you get a lighter so you can burn stuff and see in the dark.
Cool.
And then in the last area, you get this thing that lets you stay underwater longer, like a rebreather thing.
Okay.
And that's it. That's it. That's all you get.
That's like a staple of adventure games.
There's no. I mean, Nathan Drake doesn't get upgrades either, but like you're pulled through by this very movie-like experience.
Yeah, but then you think like Tomb Raider, like Lara gets the pickaxe, and then you get the bow and arrow. You get loads of stuff in that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's less adventure, but for indie I'd expect more a sense of progression, I think.
And you also can't just shoot your way through.
You can't do the spinning knife and shoot it.
There are moments, and there are like gunplay sequences, but you can't just like walk into a Nazi camp and start murking everyone, because like you'll shoot a guy and then 10 guys will run up to you and shoot you once and you'll be dead. You can't just like Wolfenstein your way through it.
Yeah, that is weird.
And shooting someone alerts like everyone, alerts like 50 dudes to run at you. There's accessibility settings that limit how many guys will chase you at a time. You can be like, only 3 dudes pursue me when I.
So normally there are that many that they have to have an option where it's like, okay,
yeah,
we'll chill out on the chase sequences.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah. So you can't just Rambo your way through. I'm sure speedrunners will, but it's not. The game isn't designed to be Rambo.
No.
So like the gunplay's bad, like
on purpose as like a deterrent.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to think so with it being machine games. You'd have to think that they can do shootings. Of course they can.
Sorry, do I know you?
Yeah, it's bad on purpose, right?
They wanted to do something different, which I respect.
Yeah.
And it fits indie, but
it's bad. The boss fights are bad.
Okay, well, I'm interested to see how you turn around it in the end. For now, where I stand is I'll probably still play it.
Well, it's on Game Pass, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
how could you not?
You're at no loss to do so.
Yeah.
It's IP, which I love. And, I'm curious to test out your method of just running through. Like, I'm sure.
I recommend it. I recommend just stick to the main story. And I know you'll have that twinge of like, what am I missing? But I promise you, it's not much.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'll take it under advisement.
Yeah, I think I love indie.
Yeah.
I love Indiana Jones. I always have. And so I'm thrilled to get a big budget indie game. There's been a lot of indie games, and this is the best one, easily. Not the most stiff competition.
The Emperor's Tomb on PS2. That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of the right one? Maybe not. But it's one on the
There's a
PS2.
lot of them.
It was pretty good. That's all right.
Yeah,
Better than Lego Indiana Jones. There you go.
there you go. Yes, I like it. I like it. I guess Machine Games, Bethesda, Indiana Jones. When you first hear about that premise, you're
Perfect.
like, this is incredible, and it's not incredible,
It's just
but
good.
but it's pretty
Indiana Jones and the Pretty Good Circle.
good. All right, gamer. Well, by the time this goes up, I will have the review written, so find that link down in the description to see my score, my final verdict. We'll keep it, be a little coy about it. Yeah, crack the whip on this one. I've been working on guides for all of the little puzzles and challenges throughout the game, so we have so much cool Indiana Jones content on the gamer. That's it for this video, though. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know. Are you going to play it? Are you going to play The Great Circle? And that's it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and visit us at thegamer.com. That's The Gamer. No spaces.